in this area at your back lower ribs. As you breathe in, let your belly and these back lower ribs expand, and then steady, soft, relax on the exhale. We use an ujjayi breath. It's a breath that you feel and hear coming from the back of your throat, just like when you sigh or you fog a mirror. So try this, a deep breath in, open your mouth up wide, and exhale. Did you feel that in the back of your throat? Keep that. Breathe again, but this time when you exhale, mouth closed, do it through your nose. You might have to revisit the sigh a few times throughout the class, but this is a breath called an ujjayi breath. We use it in Vinyasa Yoga because it builds a heat. Now we'll add some movement to the breathing. On your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. So it's a pose shaped like an upside down letter V. When you get there, keep your breath flowing, but bend and straighten your knees to start to stretch out the backs of your legs, your knees, your calf muscles, your feet. And then bring your attention to your foundation, your hands and feet that are on the floor. Walk your feet back a little further so the pose is much longer. It doesn't matter if your heels touch the ground. And then try opening your hands and feet wider to the edges of your mat. You might feel a little more sturdy like this. Take another breath here. Then look up to the front of your mat and step up to the front of your mat. When you get to the front, look at your feet. Line them up to be parallel to the sides of your mat. If you were to look at your feet and consider them hands on a clock, they'd be facing 12 o'clock. Then put your palms on your thighs, lift up halfway as you inhale, and work to stretch your spine as long as you can, and exhale, hang down. Now you might like swaying from side to side while you hang here. Keep your breath flowing. You may discover that if you were to open up your feet a little wider right now, you would have a more sturdy foundation, and you could give that a try. Otherwise, hang and let the pose do the work and put your concentration just on your breathing. Breathe so that you can hear and feel yourself breathing. Listen for the people around you to be breathing. And then listen for the people who are at home practicing with us to be breathing. You'll need your imagination, yes, you will for that, and you'll need it for a lot of other things throughout the practice today. Next, press your feet down into the mat until you feel your arches start to lift, and when you feel that, start rolling up to standing. Let your head just hang as you lift up and roll up just one bone at a time till you roll your shoulders open, unwind your neck, sweep your arms overhead, look up, stretch, and then bring your hands into prayer position and pause. Set your gaze on one still point across the room and set an intention for your practice. So we select tensions something like this. I am, and then you choose curious, present, willing, anything you want to put in that space. Throughout the practice, you use it as a mantra phrased like this: what if I am curious? And then create a clearing. Together we'll chant Om 3 times. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up, stretch, fold to the floor as you exhale all the way down. Then inhale, lift up halfway and set your gaze. Keep that as you exhale and come to a low push-up position. This is called chaturanga. Then inhale, lift your chest, look up, upward dog. Exhale, move back into downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths. Deep breath in, long breath out. 2 more. Deep breath in, long breath out. 1 more time. Deep breath in, On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump up to your hands. Once you land, inhale, lift up halfway, forward fold. Stand up, reach for the ceiling and breathe in. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway, high to low plank as you exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. So this Ujjayi breath, it has 4 parts. It has an inhale, a pause, an exhale, and a pause. One more time, breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees, step or jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. So inhale, stand up, reach for the ceiling, extended mountain pose, and just pause for 1 beat, then fold to the floor as you exhale and pause right down here. Inhale, lift up halfway and pause. Then exhale, high plank to low, and you pause in the low. Then inhale, come up, and exhale, move back. 3 breaths. Watch for the 4 parts as you breathe here. One more time, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, jump to your hands. Lift up halfway and fold. Chair pose, sit back, reach your arms forward, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, step or jump. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog on the pause, step your right foot forward and lunge, warrior 1. Then inhale, look up and reach for the ceiling. As you exhale, bring your hands to the floor, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step forward with your left foot without lifting it behind you. Just step right forward and reach up. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. So you might notice I've put a card in front of your mat. One side says yes, the other side says no. It refers to hands-on assisting, and at any time you can move it from the yes side to the no side, and it just indicates your preference around being assisted or not. One more time, breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Here we go. Chair pose. Sit, inhale, reach, fold to the floor and empty. Halfway lift, inhale, low plank. You might just drop right down into it. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Inhale, look up and reach. Exhale, hands to the floor. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side step. Back foot flat and lunge. Inhale, look up and reach. Hands to the floor. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, and breathe here. This section of the sequence where we're doing all of this movement and sun salutations is called awakening. We're just waking up into our own breath, matched to movements, our own skin, being present in the room with others. One more time, breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop into the low plank. You can also step. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Deep bend to the knee. Press your back foot into the mat. Hands to the floor. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward and lunge. Anchor the back edge of your back foot. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, and breathe. Sometimes you might find the best thing for you when you're breathing is just to take a sigh. One more time, take a breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees, jump to your hands. Last round, halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, reach, fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Really savor the emptiness. Upward dog, downward dog, right foot forward, lunge. Inhale, look up, lift up, reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward dog, Downward dog, left side step, deep lunge, look up, stretch up, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee, bring your heel to your hip, and turn your hips open. You keep your left hand anchored on the mat, but flip the pose over. You may need to sit down and rearrange or flip it all the way over. That's it, Caleb. Keep going until your foot touches the floor again. Bring this guy all the way over to here. Yes, just like that. And then just stretch. What we're looking for is to be in a full experience of being alive by breathing and just stretching into the edge of the pose for us right now. One more breath, side plank. Your right hand can come back to the mat, face the long left side of the mat. Stack your body up so it's like a capital letter T that tilted over. And then work with what's showing up. It may be you customize by putting your bottom knee down to the floor, lifting your top leg, hugging your bottom knee into your chest, or a million other variations. Whichever one it is, get to the point where you're at the edge of the pose, and then you're just breathing. One more breath, tricks you, I guess. High plank to low, didn't mean to. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now the left side, lift your left leg into the air, bend your knee and flip it over. 2 feet to the floor. 2 sturdy feet on the floor, and then just reach up and overhead. You might find what's right for you right now is to reach all the way over till you touch the floor in wheel pose. Breathe there. Takes a little flipping of the wrist, and then let your whole body just refresh at the opening. Now side plank, just float into it. Left hand down, face the long right side of your mat. While you're here and stacked up, can you just peel your baby toes back toward your face? That's it, Ray. Last breath, just broaden your chest and upper back. High plank to low. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. Now we've done warriors and had a back foot that was flat. This time now we'll be on the ball of the back foot with hips square to the front of the space. Lunge down into your front leg until you can feel stretching through your quads and the front of your left side of the pelvis. Once you have that, your legs are deep, pull your fingertips up to the ceiling. From your deep legs and the stretching up, you might find there's some access to stretch up and go back. Do it by stretching instead of sinking. One more breath. Hands to prayer position, the center of your chest, twist, left elbow to your right knee. Just keep your breath flowing the whole time. Once you get into the shape and your breath is flowing and your gaze is set, start just running through your body and checking it out. How are your feet, your legs, your hips? Stretch so long from your back heel to the crown of your head, and once it's stretched, you twist on the exhales. Take 3 more breaths. Long and rotation. 2 more. On this last one, stay for the entirety of the exhale. Then reach up to crescent lunge and set your gaze. Keep it. Open your body to warrior 2. So for warrior 2, you face the long side of your mat. Your front leg, your knees and toes, they just need to point in the same direction as you lunge down. Then the part we never think of, the back of a thing, you don't even have to look. Put the weight in your big toe and pick up your back heel, then swing it out further to the back of your mat and lunge. Now both of your legs probably feel the fire of the practice. Stretch across from thumb through chest to thumb, and then tilt, extended side angle. Reach for the floor. Reach for the ceiling. When I look around the room, what usually happens when we tilt is we unlunge. So bend your front knees quite a bit more. Then if you can, put a lot of attention into pressing the back edge of your back foot in the mat. So strong. When you feel like that's pressing so strong that your back leg is like on fire, alive, your front top arm can reach to the wall in front of you, opposite of your foot. You might even reach the bottom arm too. But it's a stretch from your foot on the floor to your fingertips. Last breath, chest to the ceiling, then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a breath in, open up your mouth, sigh, and just clear your mental space. Step your left foot forward for crescent lunge. Keep your breath flowing. Set your gaze. Steady breathing. Feel what you feel in your back foot and how it impacts your left hip. And then really square your back foot up so all 5 toe knuckles are on the floor, particularly the baby toe knuckle. Lunge into your front leg so your back heel stacks on top of your toes. And then when your legs are both on fire, reach up. Use the fire to really reach up from your hip through your side to your fingertips. Reach up and start looking back. Your steady, deep legs are what hold you. Reach up and go back. One more chance. Lift your chest as you go back. Nice. Hands to prayer and twist. Right elbow, left knee. Keep your breath flowing. So breath by breath, you just explore. You put your attention on what you can notice, and then you just be for the opportunity to move to the edge, to the periphery for yourself right now. Until you can spend the last few breaths in your full expression right now. Breathing and being on the other side of the pose. One more time, inhale. Stay here and exhale. Reach up to crescent lunge and set your gaze. Keep it. Open your body to warrior 2. Keep your breath flowing. This pose is a funny pose. It's actually built right up here in this front hip. So while we think about where our foot and our knee are, really the whole thing is an action of the front thigh rolling out in the hip socket. So lunge down, and from your groin to your inner knee, push out, but from your outer knee to your hip, pull in, tilt for extended side angle. Keep your breath flowing. Nothing right or wrong, all just an experience. If you can, bring your heel back. It's a little bit more now, right? If you want to put all that extra pressure, all the extra attention in the back edge of your back foot, you might find like a whole new kind of energy shooting through your body. Both arms reach if you can. Maybe just one arm. One more breath. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And now your hips start to warm up from all that lunging. Take a deep breath. One more time. Breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump up to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Now chair pose. Sit way back into your heels. Way back, like you're reaching your hips back, looking for a chair, and it's only the reach forward that will keep you from falling. Stay and breathe. And then while you're here in this position, just gather the pit of your belly up into your body. That's different from tucking your tail. You still want the reach, but pull the pit of your belly in. When you get that and you feel so long through the side of your body, keep the long, hands to prayer and twist, left elbow toward your right knee. Keep breathing. A little check in with your 2 knees that they're evenly bending. And like feel like you're going to sit your butt on the wall behind you instead of the floor. So reach your butt back. It'll make it easier to hold in your legs. You're welcome to open your arms or wrap your top arm behind your back or go to any further pose that you feel your body drawn to. And then wherever you are, 3 more breaths. In every variation, what there is to do is just expand your chest and upper back. At the last exhale, come to some form of a chair pose and forward fold. Once you get to your forward fold, feet hip width distance or wider. Then hook your big toes with your middle and index fingers. Once you've got that, inhale, lift up halfway and just stretch. Then exhale, fold your belly down your thighs. Keep your breath flowing. Each breath, let go a little more of the weight of your head, of your shoulders, and feel what you feel in your body. You know, I always noticed my legs stretching and even the surface of my back stretching, but it wasn't until somebody else told me they actually feel the middle back, their ribs stretching, that I could then notice that as a thing in the pose. What's available to you right now if you just notice? can release your toes and take crow pose. A million variations. You could take it like a goddess squat, like you see Adam taking here. Standard crow pose that you see Debbie taking here. It could be done seated, where your body is legs in a triangle, arms between your knees, and there's pressure between your arms and your knees. Wherever you are, 5 breaths where you press the floor away and lift your core. You've got 3 more breaths. When you get to the 5th one from crow, the pose is chaturanga. So it's chest forward, legs float back to the push-up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take 1 breath in, a sigh out, bend your knees, jump up to your hands. Half lift, fold. Chair pose, sit into the chair. When you take the chair by kind of crunching your legs down over your toes, maybe tucking your tail, maybe not, it's a lot of heaviness in your quads. Put the weight back and then squat. You'll find that you get the work in the fronts of your legs and in the backs. Sit deep and pull the pit of your belly into your body. Then 1 more breath. Hands to prayer, twist toward the left. Right elbow toward your left knee. Breathe. Just your 2 knees evenly bending. Then as you breathe, lengthen your back right side as much as you can and twist. Yep, just keep working on here. This can sit. Pull this back. Yep. Don't worry about how much you rotate. Get that lots of length. Yes, right there. Breathe into that. Did you feel that change? Stay with it. Let's do 2 more breaths to really feel what we feel and where we are right now. Good. Give yourself the last and final breath. When you finish this exhale, you're ready to move on. Inhale, reach up to chair, forward fold. Feet hip width distance. Stand on your palms if they'll reach the whole way under your feet. Shift your weight around. Sometimes even now I'll lift my heels a little bit off of the ground. Consider that your hands could be the focus right now. You could be preparing your hands to become the only foundation on the floor in a pose like a handstand or a crow pose. Keep your breath flowing and move weight around through the palms of your hands and let your hands just start to spread open. Take 1 more breath here. Then release your hands from beneath your feet. Your choices are crow pose or handstand prep pose. If it's the handstand, set your hands wide on the mat, a little bit of dialing out, so either middle or pointer finger pointing forward. And then the weight, it can shift from your palm to your fingertips, somewhere in between at the knuckles of your hands. 1 leg maybe in the air, and then just take baby steps and imagine you're pulling yourself up with the top leg. Next, you might bring your knee into your chest and hold that. Find the prep that works for you. Crow pose is a choice. The handstand prep is a choice. The goddess squat is a choice. Take 5 more breaths. That's it, Cody. Get more upside down, shoulders on top of your wrists. 3 more breaths. Stay right there. 1 knee into your chest. Now hug. So this into your chest. This one, push it up to the ceiling. Just press up. Good. Chaturanga for everyone. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a sigh. Just let your head hang down with another sigh. Then 1 more deep breath in. Exhale and look forward and jump up to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Take your time. 3 breaths. Press your feet into the mat and roll up to standing. Just take your time and bring your body up slowly. Once you're standing tall, arms overhead. Right side eagle pose. So your right arm will swing under the left. Cross at the elbows. Maybe the forearms, palms together. Squat down, leg high over the left thigh. See if your toes will tuck behind your calf muscle. They may or may not. Once you get all of those parts twisted into place, right leg over your left. Steady breathing. You're losing your balance, just soften and breathe. Eyes on one point. Soft. And step out. That's a good save. Reach your arms overhead, left side, left arm under, left leg over. You know, we have to have an equal and opposite amount of effort and ease, kick and stretch, whatever that is, however it is showing up in any pose. When you start to lose balance, some things are out of balance that make that happen between the kick and the stretch. Right now in this pose, it might be an out of balance between the effort and the ease. Maybe you're putting in too strong an effort and there's not enough relaxing in the pose. On the next inhale, step out. Hug your right knee into your chest. Extended or standing leg raises. So hold your right knee and stand tall. Stand tall is different from lean back and press into your hands. So stand tall. Then hold your right foot's big toe or the outer edge of your foot with your hand or a strap and extend your knee forward. Once you get your knee extended forward, eyes on one point and breathe. Steady and breathe. That's it. And as you get steady here, you could gradually let your right hip crease sink deeper toward the floor. No, you got it. Reach up here and let this sink. You could draw your right arm bone back. Yep. Stay tall. Lift your foot a little higher if it's available. While you're here, take a breath in. Have a sigh. Hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose. Start from the beginning with your gaze set on one point and your chest opening. From there, start to tilt. You keep your breath flowing. Bring to mind your mantra for the practice. If you forget it, create a new one right now. I am curious. I am patient. I am present, something. And then from there, the question, what if I am patient? Stay with it. What if? Hands to prayer. Press your palms together. Pressing of the palms can help steady you. Half moon. Left fingertips to the block or floor under your left shoulder. Right arm in the air. Might already start to experience a stretch from your standing inner thigh. Anchor the knuckle of your front foot's big toe down. Imagine the knuckle of your lifted foot pressing into the wall. Stay here and take it maybe to sugarcane pose by bending your top knee. Capture your top ankle. It's sort of like standing bow, but tilted on its side. One more breath. Forward fold and hang. Let yourself hang for a moment, sway from side to side. Let your feet get connected to the ground. Then come on up to standing. Hug your left knee into your chest. So some things you might take a quick inventory of is a look at your standing foot. I know if I don't put attention on it, mine's definitely going to be turning out. So I have to organize it as best I can to be pointing straight forward. Stand tall. Then hold your toe or hold your foot and extend your knee. Steady breathing. Steady breath and then deal with whatever it is. Press into your big toes. Relax your shoulders. Strong belly. Strong belly. Stay with it. Strong reach. You got it. Hug your knee into your chest. Stand tall. Steady gaze. And start opening up to the airplane pose. What if I was patient? What if I was present? How would this pose shape itself if that were the intention? Palms together, press your palms together, get steady. Steady breath, open up for half moon. Right fingertips to the floor, left fingertips to the ceiling, kick back. Breathe. Steady breathing. Steady breathing. Press back. Right into your big toe, press back. That's it. Sugarcane if you want. Bend your top knee, catch your top ankle. 3 more breaths. From your core to the periphery, you reach. You got 2 more. Last one. Forward fold and hang. Sway from side to side. Maybe take a sigh. Press your feet into the ground, come up to standing and reach your arms overhead. Standing bow pose. Your right arm can move back. Open your right elbow, forearm, and palm. Hold your shin or your ankle from the inside and then press knee down, fingers up. Once that's stretching, then stretch forward and back. Create maximum stretch. If there's a sort of casual part, an arm, switch your grip there, Alex. It's going forward. Open it back. Let me come help you. It can be a tricky grip. There you go. Press and reach, kick and reach. Steady. You got it. Steady breathing. Relax your shoulders. Yes. Strong belly, strong feet. Kick, reach. 2 more breaths. Keep reaching across your shoulders. There, 1 more. Come on up to standing, 2 feet on the floor. Hands on your hips, or maybe press them into prayer position. Set your gaze and let your whole body settle. Left side, move your left arm bone back, open your elbow and your forearm and your palm. Bend your knee and hold your ankle. New at this, just feel completely out of balance, turn around and touch a wall. Kick and reach. Take note of where your hand is, where it ended up being on your foot or your shin or your ankle. There's nothing to do about it right now, just notice it. Kick and breathe. Kick back, reach up. And then step out, feet on the floor. Maybe hands on your hips or maybe on your thighs with a little fold over. Whatever it takes to just let your system settle a little bit. We're going to do a second set. You notice where you put your hand on your foot or ankle? Put it a little lower. So if I always grab at my ankle or on my foot, I'm going to go lower on my shin. There comes a point when you get up into the kick of the pose. If your hand hasn't been placed lower, there's nowhere new to go. So put your hand a little lower from the start where it's a bit of a reach to get to that point. Then get set up and ready and start to kick. Kick and breathe. Getting a little dizzy, Emily? Are you okay? Yeah. It's a completely common thing to sometimes get a little bit dizzy in class, and just if you need to, sit down and wait until we get to where you are. We'll be there soon. For a million reasons, there's so much energy moving through these poses, and that alone can be dizzying. Take yourself a little deeper, kick and press all the way up to the ceiling as high as your shoulder will allow you to go, and step out, feet on the floor. Other side, second set. Grip with your hand a little lower. A little lower like that, and kick. Good, and then see what you can see. Steady breathing, steady gaze. You got it. No matter what's going on around you, you bring the steadiness with who you are in the moment. 1 more breath to kick high, and then step out. Front of your mat for tree pose, left foot on the floor, right foot to your left inner thigh, hands to prayer position. You can do this lying on your back. If for any reason you just feel a little too dizzy, be standing upright. Sometimes that happens. I would put a block under my right knee, hands to prayer position, and just breathe here. Keep my foot on my straight leg. I'd keep it active. This pose can be really grounding, and the more of you that you put on the floor or attention to your hands pressing, the more you'll end up with a more steadying experience. You can do the other side, switch sides, right foot down, left foot up. And just keep your breath steady through the transition and into the next side. One more breath. Come to the front of your mat. As you arrive, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Just stretch. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Move to the low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot inside of your right hand. Turn your back foot flat. Then focus on your front foot. All 4 corners, press them into the ground. Press your heel into the ground until your front leg becomes straightish. Once you've got that, then turn and open to the ceiling. Keep this action from your front big toe to heel all the way up to your sitting bone as long as can be. Keep breathing, and as you build this, keep the bottom side of your torso from your hip crease to your armpit long, and breathe. Bring just a touch of softness to your front knee and put your hand here. Press this and deepen this Yeah, before the knee straightens. And then from here to here, lengthen. What would it take from here to here? It's going to take it right here, sinking. You got it. Turn your chest open to the ceiling. Long. One more breath. Good. Come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat. Make your feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. Hands to your hips and lift your chest up high. Forward fold. Walk your fingertips in front of you and put your spider fingertips on the floor. Then once they're steady and you have to stretch to reach them, sink your hips back behind your heels. Make a maximum stretch from the point of your baby finger up the outer side of your arm, through your armpits, through each one of your ribs to the creases of your hips. Then once you've created a stretch in that side space of your body, breathe. Breathe your 4-part breath where you have a long, steady inhale with a pause to sustain it, and then a slow, purposeful exhale and a pause to hold the emptiness. Just like that, and in that way, let your body just be opened up and let it be healed. Couple more breaths. Then walk your hands back in toward your feet. Turn and face your front foot so you can just tippy-toe your hands around. Bring your back knee to the ground. Straighten your front leg, toes toward the ceiling. I always take my heel off the front of my mat so it will slide a little bit. Instead of letting your hips open to the side, keep them square to your front foot and breathe just like you keep them square in crescent lunge. You could put a block under your right hip if your hip is close to the ground, like you see right here. You could have blocks under either hand if you just feel like the floor is kind of far away from you. And then as your body adapts to this position, you can slide your heel a little more forward toward a split. So not a split at all costs, meaning where your hips open and you're kind of sitting over on your right hip, but more square and in an alignment of sorts. Then on the next inhale, really flex your foot, toes to the ceiling. As you exhale, through your foot, point until your toes point to the floor. Inhale, flex your foot, toes up. Exhale, point your toes. Just do that to the rhythm of your breathing for a few breaths. Inhale, flex. Exhale, point. Just feel what you can feel in your body. What happens? What are you noticing? One more time. After that, hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. From the downward facing dog, step your left foot forward inside of your left hand for triangle pose. You want to create a long stride. Too long, better than too short. Foot anchored to the ground, perhaps the hand on a block, and then open up. Should feel it from your front big toe knuckle all the way up to your sitting bone on your front leg. For some of you to lift your 10 toes in the air will help you really reaffirm your front foot pressing down. Keep on breathing. If you have access to hyperextending your knee, bring a micro bend and then let this hip crease just deepen. Oh, there. Breathe. Soften your knee. Your knee's like, no, I'll do it. Don't make that happen again. Here's this if you just want a little more room to work with it. Next time, maybe try a little longer and see if you get access to a little more. And you kick the micro bend too, just a touch. Good job. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Take your arms around behind your back and interlace your fingers, or hold a strap about shoulder width distance. Once you've got your hands set up with the strap or bound together, then inhale, lift your chest up high and forward fold all the way down. Let your hands spill overhead. Still, you want your feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. Some of the tools that are nice to have beside your mat whenever you practice are a little hand towel. Mostly its job is sweat, but it can be a nice tool for other reasons. A strap, a block or two. There you go. So you might now get to feel the front of your shoulders stretching, the outer corners of your chest. Slide even wider with this. There, right there. That's probably wide enough. Okay, come on up to standing, or not. If you get dizzy standing up, we're just going to turn and face the front foot, bring the back knee down. Long front leg, toes point to the ceiling. You might stay right here at first. Even if you're comfortable in a split, maybe you notice the back of your knee wants a little bit of extra time right now. Then when you are ready, start sliding. Don't give up, though, the quality of, as much as you're pushing this front foot forward, you're also dragging the front leg's thigh and hip back. See if you can discover that opposition going on. Feeling that one, huh? Surprise. It's a good thing. Found it. Who knew the back of your knee could get so tight? Or your calf muscles. That's when I first discovered I was getting old. I was like, whose calves get tight like that? Realized mine did. Not a part of my body I'd ever really noticed before. Now the pointing and the flexing. Point it high and then toward the floor. Up to the ceiling and then to the floor. Just move to the rhythm of your breath. Match movement to your breathing and only concentrate on that. You put yourself in a space where you knew you were in the right level of sensation. So just now match movement to breathing. If you find that this is a more restricted pose for you, then bring 2 blocks to your mat next time. One more breath. And then move back to the downward facing dog. Get in the downward dog, stretch back, get a little more comfortable with where your body is right now. Stretch back. Come to a high plank and lower down to your belly on the mat for a locust pose. You can keep your toes turned under as you lower the same way they were in the chaturanga. Toes turned under like crescent lunge and legs active. Then press your heels back, stretch your chest forward, and open up. We're just practicing the elements of a back bend before we do too many. So toes turned under, just like you see here, heels pressing back. Her heels are not falling in on each other or falling out. They're like straight up and down to her toes. As her heels reach back and yours do, you can reach your tailbone back as your fingers reach back. And then while you breathe with this nice neutral pelvis, stretch the whole side of your body up to your armpits and to your ears long and stay with it. And from all this length, let the back bending occur. One more breath. Come on down. Most of us create our back bends by turning our thighs out, sinking down, and wedging back. It's not good for your back, and it will never build to a bigger back bend. Let's try the floor bow. Bend your knees, reach back, and hold your ankles. Flex your ankles. So now we've done this shape. We did it in the sugar cane. We did it in the standing bow. Now you have a floor bow. Kick back and up. Imagine there's something giving some pressure on your inside knees and you press into that. So squeeze into my fingertips with your knees. Keep doing that. Keep doing that a little more. See if you can feel your lower back soften while you do this. Keep doing it. One more breath. Come on down. Wave your feet from side to side. Second set. Bend your knees. Reach back and hold your ankles. Or on your shins even. Could hold your feet and toes as well. So as you set yourself up, knees only hip width distance. Kick back, hang off of your legs, and kick up. Good. Steady breathing. Knees only hip width distance. So if you can, squeeze your knees in. Squeeze in, Alex. Keep squeezing. Keep coming in. Keep coming in. Put resistance against my fingertips. Keep doing it like that. Keep breathing. Relax your lower back. Strengthen your abdominals. One more breath. Come on down. Wave your feet from side to side. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. From the downward dog, jump through your hands, sit down and roll onto your back for bridge pose. Once you're on your back, set up the first bridge pose, feet hip width distance. See if you can create your feet that they're not turning out. Now, it might be a lot to ask in one day that they don't, so maybe cut the distance in half. Then press down into your feet and lift your hips up. Once your hips are in the air, rock your shoulders underneath of your body as deeply as they'll go. Then under your body, interlace your fingers and press your elbows straight or use a strap under your body so that you can get the maximum opening across your chest, fronts of your shoulders. You'll maybe even feel that a little bit in your biceps. Keep breathing. Bring your right knee into your chest. Here, Kevin, try this under your body. Toes up to the ceiling. Experience the opposition of the toe on the floor to the toe at the ceiling. And then knee into your chest, other side. The toe on the floor, press it into the ground, while the toe at the ceiling presses up to the ceiling. One more breath. Knee into your chest, foot on the floor. Come on down out of the pose. You can move your knees from side to side. We'll move from the bridge next into the wheel. So start with the bridge. Get yourself up into the bridge and your shoulders under your body. Once you're in the bridge, if you're prepared to move on to what's next, you can do that or you can stay where you are. Moving on includes putting your hands on the floor under your shoulders and set them wide. The stronger or tighter you are in your shoulders, the wider to set. Then press down and rise up. And then just see where you are with this first one. Get a good sense of it. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. So there shouldn't be any pinching quality in your lower back. If that's there, we want to do things a little differently. Maybe not press your hips so high. Okay, number 2, set it up, press down, rise up. Try setting your hands a little wider than they were the first time. You can press into your big toe and into the thumb side of your hand. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Let's do another one. Get set up. Press down, rise up. Press down, rise up. Shoulders under your back. Steady breathing. Can you swing your heels a little wider than what they are right now? Just your heels, not your toes. A little wider. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. We're on a roll now. Set up the next one. Press down, rise up. Once you get a good roll going, you want to roll with it. All the way back up into the bridge. And if you have access to the wheel, take the wheel. If something is hurting in the wheel, do it differently. For example, if your wrists are hurting, the angle of rotation in your palms could have a lot to do with that. Tuck your chin and come on down, knees side to side. Let's do another one. And so I encourage you not to set it up as a thing that you mark off on your yoga to-do list. I did this because they told me to and everybody did it. Instead, do it so that it works in your body and it does something healing for you. You might not press up as high. Press into your thumbs, into the knuckles of your thumbs. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Just let yourself feel what you're feeling right now. Not emotionally, physically. Take a sigh, in fact. Let's do a last one. This is the last one. So get yourself set up for the thing, the expression of the pose that would be most healing for you right now. Press down and rise up. Whatever it feels like, looks like, is, go into that position. Different from, this is where I can survive, or this is what I think I'm supposed to do. Get to the place where it's nourishing, and then where you can breathe and be fueled by the pose. And when you're done, you're done. Tuck your chin and come on down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Eyes open or eyes closed, and just be right here inside of your skin. All the way out of the pose. You can rest now, Emily. Feel what you feel. So soles of your feet together, knees open. Let your breath be easy. Then hug your knees into your chest, a bug pose. So either reach through for your feet or the backs of your thighs, and then your feet would look like they're standing on the ceiling, and just pull your thighs back toward your shoulders. Legs straight up in the air, like they're standing on the ceiling. And then curl up and reach across the room with your fingertips. So legs straight up in the air, curl up and reach across the room with your fingertips. Take a deep breath in and look at your belly. When you exhale, blow all the air out and sink your abdominals deep into your body and keep them there. Inhale, exhale, do that again and stretch. Just tiny little pulses. Keep pulsing just like this, where the two sides of your pelvis stay level, the side of your body stays long, and you just curl at your bottom ribs right under your chest. Go 5 more times. 5. That's it. Pushing away works too. 3, 2, 1. Relax and hug your knees into your chest. Then 2 legs up in the air. Flex your feet. Lower your right leg down. Toes should point to the ceiling, different from turned out to the side. You might need to soften your knee or gently rest your heel on the floor. Then curl up and reach for the ankle of the leg that's hovering above the ground. Breathe in, exhale, and start pulsing. While you're pulsing, we want both sides of your pelvis to stay equally heavy on the floor. In fact, a box from hip to hip, rib to rib, equally open. Do 3 more. And last one, hug your knees into your chest. Instead of thinking as you do these, I'm going to really have the most incredible abs, instead, watch for how do my abs stabilize me when the work isn't balanced. Other side. How do my abs stabilize me when the work isn't balanced? Pulse toward the foot hovering on the floor. Just reach for it. Pulse. Keep your body level. 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Goodness. Rock head to tail several times through to downward facing dog. And from the downward facing dog, we'll take pigeon pose. Pigeon pose goes like this. If you have a straight line on the side of your mat, which is the side of your mat, bring your right knee to your right wrist and then set yourself up so the knee and the hip are parallel to the side of the mat. That's different from coming all the way over here and your knee is flaring out to the side of your hip. Then the angle of this knee determines the difficulty. The more square your shin is to the front of your mat, the more difficulty there is. No matter how flexible you are, there's no just melting on the ground. Hug your front thigh back and your back thigh forward. Take a moment here to lift the pit of your belly and then stretch and fold to the ground. Breathe and let the whole right side of your lower back and your right hip open up. You could place a block underneath of your right hip to keep you sturdy. The idea is that from the top looking down, like the bird's eye view, the 2 sides of your pelvis are level. Note that when you just do a little bit of like readjusting dance, your body tends to put itself back in its typical defaulted pattern. So look around your body, feel around your body, and continue choosing the shape. Switch sides. Anytime, bring a sigh into the pose, into your practice, and let it serve as having a quality of just clearing out space. That might be physically tension where you're holding on, and then there's so much emotional holding on that goes on that we don't even notice. Sometimes the sigh just unwinds a little bit of that and teaches our body a new pattern of being a clearing, of having space. Space that doesn't have to be filled, but it's got potential for that. So sit on your left hip, swing your right leg around and roll onto your back. Legs straight up in the air in waterfall pose. In that case, it might be nice to have a long block under your lower back, or roll your feet overhead to plow pose. If you're near a wall, it can be really nice to take plow pose with your feet then planted flat on a wall. Pick the pose that's for you today. If you're going for the shoulder stand plow pose family of movement there, give yourself a sturdy base with your shoulders. Ensure that your neck has a softness to it where it's continuing to maintain its natural curve up into your body rather than it just getting long and flat. put yourself into a position where you're able to maintain your steady breath. Then if you're in the shoulder stand, come to the plow, to the death man's pose, and ultimately roll out of the pose one bone at a time until you're on your long, flat back. Once you're on your long, flat back, hug your knees into your chest. Drop your knees to the right and look to the left. Once you get into this simple twist, have a sigh. Let your body soften. And switch sides. Move to the other side and have a sigh on this side. Then onto your flat back for Supta Baddha Konasana, so the soles of your feet together and your knees open wide. And use this as an opportunity to just organize the box of your torso, that your pelvis is in a neutral position, your spine feels natural and comfortable, and your shoulder blades are supportive on the floor. In the studio, there's a cold eye towel near your head on the right or the left side. You're welcome to place that over your eyes, under your neck, whatever you want. And then to stretch your legs out long and wide for Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath. Maybe a deep breath in and a sigh. With your next breath, as you sigh, squeeze your fingers on your toes. Then hug your knees into your chest, roll to your side, and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Sit in a way that feels comfortable. You have blocks nearby, you could sit on the block. Then once you're sitting up comfortably, inhale and reach your arms overhead. As you exhale, bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest and just pause for a second. It might be helpful to close your eyes. Just feel what you feel inside of your skin, inside of your body, and your own experience from the work of your practice. And know that exactly the results that you've created here are 100% perfect. 3 times we'll chant Om together to close the practice. Take a deep breath in. your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for coming to class today. There are laundry dispensers on both doors. There's a front desk. You can sit the yes, no stickers there. Any of our equipment, just sit it on the floor up here. And otherwise, have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for coming to class today. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 or 10 a.m. I'll be here. Why do you people all say not 7?